On the show today, we take your calls, and Heidi is here to answer any questions about channeling, and we interpret the dreams you sent in during the week. You're listening to So You Think You're Awake. Hi, welcome to So You Think You're Awake, the show about dreams, guidance and healing. I'm Michael Sheridan, and with me in studio is Heidi Brooke, our resident medium, and Susan Pullen actually can't make it today. She's trapped in her house by fallen power lines. There's power lines down all over Seattle, and she had a fireman shout at her about an hour ago when she tried to escape for the second time. So it looked picturesque on the brochure before she bought the house, but now she sees some of the flaws in the design. Hope you're listening to us, Susan, although I know you've no power, so I don't know how you're doing that. Thanks to everyone who sent dreams to RadioShow at dream-analysis.com. Please continue to send them in, as we always need them for this show. And today especially, you can jump the queue and call us on 425-373-5527, and we will analyse your dream or connect with your guides for advice. Anything else anything that happened over the weekend? Yes, I had a class, and I wrote a little bit about it, but we're a bit thrown by Susan not here. We don't feel complete, or at least I don't. Heidi's going to make up for it.
I'll try my best.
Okay, so straight away we have Sandra on the line with a dream. Hello to Sandra. Can you hear us?
Oh, yes.
Great. So what's your dream?
It started with a dream, and now it's more. It's turned into more, I think, a need for guidance.
Okay, well.
I'm experiencing kind of questionings now about the work that I do, because I've been teaching online for about 2 months now, and I seem to be repeating a pattern that I had with another school before, where I teach students who don't really, they're not really accounted for. They don't really have to account for themselves when they cancel their classes, and for me, it brings a lot of insecurities and a lot of instability. And I'm beginning to think that I should just leave that type of job and move on to something else, so that I can actually get the stability and the security that I want. But I get the feeling that I should be teaching, since it's something that I love to do, and I should be working at healing people, something that I've been doing for the last 3 years now. The only thing is, I feel that I'm stuck somewhere.
Okay.
And I don't know what it is that's blocking the abundance from coming my way.
Did you send a dream into the show about a thermostat in a fridge?
I did.
Okay, great.
I did. That's why I said it started with a dream, and then I had a bit of a discussion with Susan in the last 2 days, and she's the one who told me to call in the show, assuming she could get there.
Okay.
But I'm thinking, if she's not there, maybe Heidi can help too.
Well, absolutely. And I've looked at a couple of your dreams, so we'll do them too. So, Heidi, what do you get?
And we just channeled on your dream right before we came in to the studio. So what your guides were saying was that there is a block relating to. So you have digestive issues.
Yes, I do.
And so you picked those up in the womb. Something physiologically happened while you were a fetus.
Okay.
And so, have you suffered from digestive issues your entire life?
Well, that I know of, yeah.
Yeah. So it's something you've picked up on. And what I was getting earlier was that you need to, it's not something that can be cured per se, but it's definitely something you can keep in check. And you just need to be really responsible and aware that your stomach is not able to handle food the same way as another person's stomach. It's not necessarily allergies or anything, but it's like you don't have specific enzymes and things like that is what I'm getting. And so, keeping that in mind, eating as healthily as possible, the raw fruits and vegetables, it's the same for everyone really, but more so for you because you can upset your whole digestive tract. As a healer, you need to keep keep your body in check, as you're aware.
Right.
And so that's one thing. And then the other thing was, and it's in your dream too, which I think Michael has in front of him.
I've got two of your dreams, so let's do one that points out that
Okay.
issue. You say, I seem to be in my apartment, excuse me, in my office and decide that it is time to spring clean and wash the walls in my office. I don't move any furniture and begin to wash the walls by twisting my body around the furniture. There is a lot of water on my cloth and I realise quite quickly that the water drips down and I have to clean that up as well. I get out of my office room because I hear a strange noise coming from the living room and into the living room which is quite messy and very cluttered. I decide to start cleaning the walls the same way. I clean half the walls in the office room. I move a few things. I'm really trying to go forward to get to a bit in this stream that matches what Heidi said. I move a few things that clutter the way to the back of the couch and I discover some cats. So here's where we get it. Here's where we know it's definitely digestive system. And the walls then in this context are two things. They're going to be about your relationship with your mom, but here they're also about the lining of your digestive system and problems with that. I'm afraid, I am so afraid to have to deal with the fleas again that I throw them out of my apartment through the front door, which is also in the living room, and that door is already opened. Once I get rid of the cats, I discovered there was an orange-coloured cat, a deep grey one, and a few others with mixes of colours. So orange is very healing in dreams about the digestive system. So this dream is definitely trying to heal that, and it's also you trying to cleanse the problem, cleanse the issues that feed the problem. None of them were black, you say, which is fine. You say one was a deep grey, so that's going to point to emotional issues, which is what your next dream is about. I continue moving things that clutter the floor. Floor is about elimination system, the colon. Only to discover that the cats travel through the wall. There is a big hole in the bottom of the wall and the cats come through here. As I get closer, I notice that they are scrunched. There are scrunched up plastic bags and other pieces of paper cluttering the hole. I put my hand in there and take them out. There are no more cats coming out, but I am a bit concerned at the possibility of more cats coming in to my apartment from other apartments because of the existence of that hole in the wall. In spite of that, I do not block the hole and leave a few papers in there. So the papers are all about, that's the end of the dream. The papers are all about the lining of your digestive system and elimination system. And the walls, the plastic bags, that's the bit I wanted to say. So the plastic bags would really ask you, what is your diet like? Do you avoid junk foods? Because plastic is a man-made substance. So it's saying that there's man-made substances that are now affecting the lining of your system.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I do avoid a lot of that right now.
Right now?
Well, not right now, but I would say since last August.
Okay.
Since last August, I've been pretty much cooking everything I eat.
Oh, that's excellent.
Okay.
And
good.
the other thing
just to be sure that I know what I'm putting in my mouth.
And yes, and that's hugely important for you because I'm seeing that your digestive system will just shut down at some point if you don't take care of it.
Mm-hmm.
And also, I was getting as well as you can't eat the junk food and then drink a ton of water and expect that to not have an effect on you. And that's what you're doing too. That it does nothing for you other than drown out the enzymes more.
Okay.
So the other thing is the cleaning the office is saying that your state of mind is important in this too, because the office is where we do mental work typically. So
okay.
So it's saying you got to watch your state of mind, bring everything. So you're doing everything. So in this dream, the fact that you're cleaning the walls and all that is really good, but you only half do it. So that part's not great. And there's a lot of clutter and things. So this shows you're still in a detoxing phase. So you're still in a phase where you've got to get rid of a lot of things because it's blocking your path with regard to this. And in the dream, it's blocking your path. But overall, it's a very good dream. And it shows positive effects of whatever you're doing because we see you laboriously working on cleaning this. But you don't go all the way. And I'd say that's what Heidi's picking up there. So in your next dream, it gives us more of a clue. And this is much shorter. You say, I open the fridge door and look at the thermostat. In reality, the thermostat is set to 6, and that's really good in a dream, which is colder than normal. Colder than normal means that if we put food in the back of the fridge and you go on. So it's all about how long food can be in the fridge, even though it's a short dream. You're very technical about how this 6 and this extension to the 6 setting regulates the temperature to warmer and so on in the fridge. So let's see. I look at the sense of 6 and I feel a bit of anxiety over how much faster food can spoil in the fridge. Okay, so just like your other dream, there's 2 themes in this one, and we could talk about either one, but I'm going to talk about both. So we know the digestive system stuff is there, and that's what the fridge represents in the dream, because that's where we put food that we need to look after when we come into the house. So it symbolises your stomach. And then the 6 is about you getting onto the Dharmic path, which is really, really good. But it says here this coldness. So we relate this to you not emotionally sharing yourself, which is also what the walls are about in your previous dream. So but I can bring it up because it's a really positive dream. It's saying if you can get past this, work on this issue, and it's going to be issues with your mom, and Heidi already said that's where the issues with the digestive system come from. So work on the issues with your mom. So say cut the ties that bind with you're only working on the negative things. Nothing, it still you still can have a positive relationship with your mom. It's not about that at all. But you heal these things that have caused you to not share yourself. And when you do that, with a more open heart, you're going to get onto the Dharmic path. And that's something you'll always hear me on the show really pushing people to do. It's really fantastic. It's a totally blissful state of being. Heidi, anything you want to add into that dream?
Just definitely, they're saying that it was your life purpose to jump onto the Dharmic path this lifetime.
Okay.
So it's totally within your means. You have all the tools to do it, and it's not going to be a huge struggle for you to eliminate all the negative conditioning of your childhood and your past. It should happen very quickly from the time you start to cut the ties or whatever process you do use to eliminate those conditionings from your childhood.
And a question, Heidi, were the digestive system problems she has now, were they meant to happen?
I strongly feel that they weren't meant to happen. Okay. And that's probably why you picked up more issues from childhood, because it became a physical problem and you resented that a little bit. I mean, on a higher level, you would have been aware of what was happening.
Okay.
All right. Any other questions, Sandra, or have we stunned you into silence?
No, not at all. No, it's just one of... I guess the core question I have in terms of my work is, am I on the right path here?
Oh.
Like what I'm doing now, am I okay with it?
I feel...
Or should I follow my... I don't know. I'm getting a message to just try and move on from teaching and healing and just move to something that's more stable.
It has to be stable for you, though. You are a healer, and so you're going to be healing and offering those services to people regardless of what you do in your, what we call our day job. But so that's important to keep up. But as far as
the healing, I want to keep it up. It's just with the teaching, I seem to be getting back in the same pattern over and over again. Yeah,
and it's because you're not. It's not that you're not meant to teach. It's you're not meant to teach the way you're teaching it and what you're teaching. And I feel like the program that you're teaching or involved in is not. It's not really doing a lot for the students. They're not
right.
It's supposed to be helping them, and it's the opposite. And because you're a healer, you're really feeling opposed to that. You know, at a deep soul level. So that's exactly why you're not meant to be doing that, because it's contradictory to your whole life purpose.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, this makes a lot of sense.
So I would just, they said you're still able to walk away right now without it affecting you. So I would just close that down, whatever, as fast as you could, and with as long as it's within your means.
And the other thing is, you can be pretty assured you're on the right path, you're thinking the right way, and following your intuition the right way when the Dharmic path shows up as the option for you.
Exactly.
That doesn't come easily in a dream. That's
something that maybe I've been wondering, and talking about this makes me want to ask the question, is everything that I've been through so far, and I've heard you talk about a few weeks ago, you were talking about karmic versus dharmic path, and I'm wondering what the difference is. Like, am I paying karma right now for anything, or is it just like they want me to get on my dharmic path and that's it?
Get on the dharmic path and that's it. You don't have any karma when you get onto that path. It's a completely different. It's like plugging yourself into the system a completely different way. You're in the matrix a different way altogether. So the debts that you had and you even agreed to pay and help others with, they don't apply to you. You will be more in tune with what your path is, what your higher self is asking you to do, and you're just going to do that. And you're very much in service, you could say, when you're doing that. I've been pushed all the time to write something about Dharma, so I'll definitely do it for next week.
Because I did some research on Dharma, but I wasn't. It wasn't clear to me. Okay.
It requires, the important thing for you to know is it requires an open and compassionate heart, and your dreams. So therefore, saying you can't be cold on that path, and cold is just where dreams exaggerate. So it's not saying you're a cold person. It's saying that you like, even in the dream, you're talking about the fridge being warmer on a 6 setting, and so it's asking you to share yourself more openly with others. And of course, to do that, you have to deal with the issues that cause you to put a defensive wall up. And that just is the way it is. But it's very straightforward, very simple to work through that and get onto that path when you have a dream like this. But it's a state of being. When you get there, actually, it would be fantastic for you to call in and say, I'm here, and here's what it feels like for me.
I would love to be able to do that. But that's the question I was going to ask is there, like, are there any specific details or any things that physically that I could work on that would help me?
Issues with your mom.
That's issues with my mom, okay.
By far the most, because moms are the most influential when it comes to female energy, and the Dharmic path is all female energy. So if there's anything blocking that, then it's going to be most likely connected with issues with your mom, and dealing with that makes the flow much better. Now, to other people, the more you get onto this path, the more crazy it seems. So quitting a good paying job that you've got seems like a crazy thing, but not in the Dharmic path, because you're going with your feelings, and so the whole point is, if you're going to be listening to your intuition and following that, and of course this isn't just like, it's very tangible. It's not like, oh, I had this mad sense that I'm going to do this. It's very concrete. It feels like I know I'm on it and I know my feet are on the ground. It's just other people think I'm crazy. So it's that's the big
I like
difference.
The way you put it. My feet are on the ground. It's just people think I'm crazy. Okay, well, thank you so much.
All right, thanks for calling.
And I will definitely call in once I get on that Dharmic path if I know that I'm on it.
Okay, you will. It's impossible not to know. So,
all right.
Thanks for the call. We're going to take a break, and we will be back with you in a moment. Hi, I'm Michael Sheridan, and I'm here to tell you about my new book. In 1990, I had a spontaneous awakening, and the veil between the physical world and the spirit world was lifted for me. I didn't believe in the spirit world, but that no longer mattered. I was looking at it. My new sight didn't give me answers, but it opened my mind enough to begin asking questions. It would ultimately lead me to discover that the spirit world is always involved in everything we do. My book reveals what I learned about the spirit world as I stumbled through my journey, and is titled My Journey to Awakening, and is now available on Amazon for Kindle and in paperback. My Journey to Awakening by Michael Sheridan.
Hello, this is Heidi. How can I help you?
You tell me. You're the psychic.
That's not how it works. I am a medium. I connect to your spirit guides and loved ones and pass on their messages to you.
So why did I call? Use the force, Heidi.
Look, I can get answers to any questions you ask. That's not a problem. They can be about anything: relationships, career, children, finances, anything.
Anything? Okay. What's my favorite color?
Dave, your mom says you're being childish.
For readings with Heidi, go to angelsontheline.com.
How clear is your vision for your life? Are you living on purpose, bringing your dreams to reality? I can help you to hear the quiet voice of your heart, guiding you in the right direction. I'm Susan Pullen with True Radiance Healing Arts. Let's talk about how you can create the life you want and be the person you were born to be. Contact me today at true-radiance.com.
Negativity and fear, two staples of talk radio. Well, we figured we'd try something different. Alternative Talk 1150.
Welcome back to So You Think You're Awake with Michael Sheridan and Heidi Brooke. Our show is about dreams, guidance and healing, and our phone number is 425-373-5527. If you have a dream-related question, or want to connect with your guides for advice with a question for Heidi.
And if you do want to call, I'm going to Ireland for the next 3 weeks, so this is your time to do it.
Yeah, is that the Dharmic path where you just did something crazy, like last night you thought, hey, I'll go to Ireland?
Yeah, and it happened.
Previously, you'd been saying to us that you were going to go in July sometime.
Yeah, well, something gave me a notion. I was like, okay, I'll just start. Well, actually, what was it? I got my son's passport in the mail, and I was like, oh, maybe I should just look at some tickets. And they had a flash sale on Aer Lingus. That's an Irish airline. So I get to be in Ireland for St. Patrick's Day.
And we had ordered incense and all sorts of other calming things for July for when you'd be gone.
Well, now you'll just have to do it in March.
But they're not here.
So that's, speaking of the Dharmic path, you just get a feeling, you get a sense that something's going to work out, and try not to panic.
Yeah,
Because it's the panic that
even
might
if there's
throw you
obstacles,
off.
you still have an idea that it's going to work out.
But speaking of that, so I have a lot of dreams about the Dharmic path as well. And the number 6 comes up a lot in those dreams. Is there any other symbols that come up in dreams that reference the Dharmic path?
Yeah. 6 is the easiest way to see it. Because it means going beyond the 5 senses. And the karmic path is where you're learning about yourself through the 5 senses, through the experiences and everything that happened to you while you're here. And the Dharmic path then is gone beyond that, beyond the 5 senses. And it's symbols would be like crazy things. Like if you're on a path and the road's just going to end, but something swoops down and carries you up, like a helicopter carries you up to another level of the road and you're able to continue on. That would be like a really common kind of theme in Dharmic path dreams. Or you're like if your son has one of these crazy trains that goes around a track in a kind of a mad fashion and gets brought up ladders and do that sort of thing. Dreaming about that would also be about the Dharmic path. It shows that the connections are no longer logical. They don't need to be logical, and you don't plan your path with your mind because it's, like I said, it's all about female energy. Other things that would be common is if there's a street in your town, like Nut Grove Avenue or anything with that sort of, with a nut name in it. It just says it's a nutty route.
Just like you said, other people think you're crazy.
Yeah. And then, of course, if you have church in the name of a road, like Churchtown Road, if you're dreaming about approaching Upper Churchtown Road, which was in a dream before, then that would be it too, going on to the higher path. But it is a higher path. So, and a lot of people can get to it, and you can be on the Dharmic path for phases of your life. Mm-hmm. And these are usually pretty self-evident because you lose yourself in the moment when you're doing those things. Or else you feel more connected with life than anything else that you're doing. And it's showing you that this is part of the Dharmic path for you. Does that answer your question?
Yes, it does.
Now I've no need to talk about it next week.
Oh, no, there's plenty more.
Okay, so a reminder again, the number is 425-373-5527. So let's have a look at a dream. So this man says, I was setting out on a journey on my silver bike. There was a car stopped on the road in front of me, and there was a person waiting at the side of the road with the expectation that the car was going to pick them up and take them to their destination. As soon as I started cycling, the car in front of me pulled off and didn't stop for the person who was waiting. I stopped and gave them a lift on my bike. It was no effort at all to pedal the bike, even with the extra load. There was lots of traffic and lots of big junctions with traffic lights. The traffic lights were not following the proper cycling of colours. This was throwing most people off, but I just sailed on through without any difficulty. At some stages of the journey, the guy was standing on my shoulders. I didn't care so long as it didn't interfere with my objectives. I arrived at the DCU Helix and let the guy off the bike. Okay, so the first part of that dream, and I'll do the rest in a second. The first part of that dream is more the theme. So it's saying that the dreamer with the silver bike, it's all about using his intuition to navigate his path in life. And so it's really pushing that. Use your intuition, use your intuition, use your intuition. But then it shows that one of his flaws. And his flaw is that he helps other people. Can you call that a flaw? He takes on other people's responsibilities.
When you take on too much.
Yeah. So it's not necessarily a flaw because he's very generous and kind. But he does take on other people's responsibilities. And he's got to navigate his career, which is really what all the traffic is about. He's got to navigate that while he's taking on these other responsibilities, and they are an extra burden. So it's just saying to him that he has things on his plate that he doesn't need to have on his plate, but that's just his nature. He does take these extra things, and so that's okay. But yeah, so he's to use his intuition to navigate obstacles in his career. And then the next part, which is really why I wanted to do this dream, he says, I arrived at the DCU Helix and let the guy off the bike. My brother arrived a few seconds later on foot. We were both going to see a play in the theatre downstairs by Sean O'Casey. And the dreamer's name is Sean. We spoke to each other briefly, and my brother walked down the stairs. While we were talking, I had removed the front wheel from my bike. When we finished talking, I reattached it and tightened the bolt securely. I then picked up the bike and made my way to the double helix staircase. What I really liked in that dream was the DCU Helix, because even without that, approaching and entering a building are about entering the womb. So the first part of the dream is all about pre-life and how it says problems in career and navigating seemingly strange obstacles in career are part of what his life purpose is. And this guy certainly has hit that. And then this approaching the building and entering it and moving from a high location to a low location because he enters the building and goes downstairs, that's also a symbol for birth. But what I really love here is the DCU helix is a pun on DNA helix. So it shows moving into the physical body or the physical world in so many ways in this dream. I mean, 3 ways. Not so many, 3. But that's enough in a very short sentence. And then the theatre, the play downstairs is by Sean O'Casey, and his name is Sean. So it's reminding him that he's created his life, he's designed his life. So very important. And then the last part where he's reattaching the front wheel to his bike. So it's again, get in touch with your female side, get the balance right, because that's what bikes are all about, and that's all about the heart. We need to keep that chakra balanced because that's how it stays healthy and how we keep a strong connection with our higher self there. And tightening the bolts then are really good. And then he goes in. That's all fine. So, any points in that dream? No.
I just think it was great how specific it was about entering the body, the DNA.
Yes, yeah. It's really
and then
cool.
tightening the bolts. What does that symbolize exactly?
So this is about staying balanced. So he hits periods where he does use his intuition in general, but things can still throw him. So the dream is saying, look, yeah, you get thrown by things, responsibilities you've taken on that aren't yours. So realize that. That's important to know. Because you might be thinking, okay, this is something I have to sort out. And no, you don't. You can just say, hang on a sec, this isn't my responsibility, so I'm just going to drop this one.
Yeah.
So look at things and say, is it something I can drop because it's not part of my purpose at all? And then the other is, am I doing something that's knocking me off balance? And if I am, go back and center yourself because your way is purely by staying balanced and following your intuition. And it's really cool. So we have Susie on the dream, and she says she can't remember dreams. Hi, Susie.
Hi there.
So you have a question.
I do. I don't remember dreams very well, if at all, most of the time. What does that mean, or is there a way that I could do something that would help me remember dreams?
Absolutely. Usually when you can't remember dreams, it means that you're burning the candle at both ends, so you're not getting enough sleep. And even when you don't remember dreams, most people will say, on vacation, when I'm on vacation, I do remember them. And the reason for that is you're not having to jump out of bed so fast. So it's the getting up out of bed quickly because you have things you need to do. That's usually the biggest killer of remembering dreams. So what you could do for that one is set the alarm clock for 45 minutes before you need to get up. And then your next 45 minutes, or you can even set it longer, the next hour to 45 minutes, you're going to have a lighter level of sleep and you will generally remember the dreams much more easily. And usually they're the dreams we do remember anyway. Even though we dream all night long, we tend to remember the dreams that we have just before we wake up. Now, there are other things you can do, but would you say you burn the candle at both ends? Or are you doing too much?
Oh, maybe. But, I feel like I've slowed down, but maybe not.
Yeah. So you're comparing it to a crazy pace. And not so, an almost crazy pace is still too much.
Right. Well, I think that whole thought of jumping out of bed and you start thinking about what you have to do, then that makes sense. You'd forget your dreams.
Absolutely, you do.
Now, are all dreams meaningful?
Yes, I would say yes, but yet people can still give me a dream that just shows what's going on for them.
Okay.
So there won't necessarily be any revelation, but it shows that this is what you're working on. This is a big thing going on for you, and we expect to see the sequel to that dream, showing a conclusion or a reason why it's going on. But yeah, I would say yes, but certainly some dreams are a lot more significant than other dreams.
Okay.
And that's always important. So, like, if your question is around, if I, for instance, have watch a horror film and then have nightmares, you can go, okay, well, they seem meaningless type of dreams. But you look for the differences. So your dreams are going to use what's gone on during the day, the events of the day, as the background for holding the symbols. But what's different in it? So if you watched Frankenstein but dreamt of Dracula, that's important. Or if you're a musician and you play the violin, but in your dream you're playing music. So people will say, oh, well, I'm playing music, but I'm a musician, so it means nothing. And I ask, are you playing the same instrument? And they go, oh, well, no, I'm playing the piano. So again, it then becomes significant because there's something different that is being pointed out. So yeah, it's kind of, can be tricky at times to figure out, well, what are the significant pieces in a dream and how is one dream more significant than another? I always like the dreams that have guides in them because they're always really punchy.
Guides?
So you have somebody with a title like a taxi driver, a bus driver, or
okay.
And they would symbolize a higher power, as somebody in authority who's going to comment on your life in some way, maybe by what they're doing or what they say, or it could even be that they give you a gift. And if they give you a gift, for instance, of a pen, it means that you've got a special writing ability, or a telephone, you've got a special communication ability. So they tend to do something in the dream that is very indicative of what your life purpose is and what you're meant to develop.
Okay.
You sound like you have a series of questions.
Well, just the whole life purpose thing. How would I know how would I interpret them? I'd have to talk to someone like you to be able to figure them out.
Well, I mean, what I'm about is teaching people how to interpret their own dreams, and that's why we have the show. So if you go to the website, there is an extensive dictionary. I hate dictionaries, but there's an extensive dictionary that'll give you a clue to what the subject matter is.
Okay. And
then we do courses all the time. We put videos up and explanations of how we extract the interpretation of a particular dream, but all done in a sort of educational way so that you can say, okay, I'm going to apply that to mine. But I've got a webinar coming up, which is free. It's probably going to be in May, early May. And if you subscribe to our newsletter, you'll get notifications about that. And that's going to have very practical examples of how you analyze your own dreams in a way that I haven't done for free before.
And how can they subscribe to that?
Well, if you go to dream-analysis.com, there's going to be links on there to say subscribe to our newsletter. If you get on there, then you're going to get the information. But I'll say it again closer to the date on the show.
All right. Very good. Thank you.
Thanks for your call.
You're welcome. Bye-bye.
It said Susie in Edmonds, and I thought, I wonder, is Susan calling in? 'Cause she lives in Edmonds and tricking us. So we have April on the phone. Hi, April. You have a question about Dharma.
Hi. Yes, you inspired me earlier with your talk of Dharma. I spoke with a woman yesterday, actually, who was very inspiring. She analyzes people using your information called human design. And it was the first time I'd heard of it anyway. And I'm considering working with her, but it would take time and it would take money. So I don't know if I should ask my guides for advice because I feel like it's the kind of thing that I'm supposed to figure out on my own.
Oh, no. Always ask your guides. There's nothing wrong with asking them. If they think it's something you have to work out on your own, they'll tell you that. And we know, April, you're a channel, even though you deny it. So you can get the answers. And you sent a dream into the show during the week, and I was going to do that about a waiter, breaking up with a waiter.
Oh, yeah, I wondered about that one.
But I'll search for the dream and I'll let Heidi talk to you.
Okay.
Because I see her in deep
So
thought.
you wanted to ask your guides if you should work with this woman?
Or if it would, or...
Did you already get an answer?
I feel like it would. It's so expensive, Heidi. I feel like it would be a great idea. The money is the only thing that concerns me, and I wonder if I do choose to do it, whether it would put me on the Dharmic path, which is kind of my goal.
Certainly, something you're doing now is working towards the Dharmic path. Are you in the process of something currently?
I'm cutting the ties.
You're still okay. I wasn't sure if you were finished or not. That's why I asked. Because I wouldn't start any other process until you've completed that. It can, anyway, for you, it's saying it can interrupt the whole process. So I would ask again when you're finished. And I have a very strong feeling because they said that there's something you're doing now that's going to put you on the Dharma path. So stick with what you're doing now. You don't need another way. This is the way for you.
Okay.
Does that make sense to you? Even though you feel like the end is not in sight, it is in sight. And it's fast approaching. And I'm pretty certain you're having a lot of dreams that are saying that this is coming.
Okay. Last night it wasn't very helpful. I didn't remember much of the dream. And then I had the dream that Michael's looking for that also I couldn't really figure out.
And I have it now. And this is a theme in your dreams. So I'm going to read this one out. You call it Broke Up with Waiter Boyfriend. I worked in a restaurant and was dating a co-worker. He was taller, had reddish blonde hair, and reminded me of a Viking because he was a big guy. I've forgotten a lot of the dream, but the part that sticks out was that I broke up with him. I stood in front of him quietly and I had my eyes closed while I tried to make a decision about what to do. I eventually said, "It's over," and walked away. It wasn't too painful for me, but we didn't talk after, even though I saw him around. Now, you have lots of dreams where you are deciding whether the man is doing the right thing or not the right thing as they approach you. And you had a dream you sent, which we never did, where a man just walked up to you and kissed you, and you said to him afterwards, you did the right thing, because if you'd have done anything else, I would have rejected you. I'm summarizing.
Right.
So,
yes.
So why do you have all these dreams about men? And they're not people you know, isn't that correct?
Not usually.
Yeah.
Sometimes I do. I had a dream about you once. I didn't send that one in.
Please do.
No. So yeah, here. So it's about you. So this, because you say this guy was tall, are you getting information from your guides that you aren't happy with getting, or do you think they're not giving you the right information? And I think I have to be careful with you and say it in a way that is exactly the way that highlights your reasons for not listening, as opposed to getting close to the mark. So it's all about, there's going to be an element of that in it, but there's also an element of you being in touch with your male side and really male energy in a very positive way. So male energy in a positive way would prevent you from overthinking situations, because male energy is all, can be about that, and it can give you confidence and belief in yourself and so on. But we can have male energy flowing but not using it correctly, and we still think, okay, we're good because I've got this male energy. But that can show up in a very different way. It can show up kind of like being selfish. If you think, for instance, creativity is one side of male energy. So the more creative you are, the more individual you seem. Brought to an extreme can be about selfish. Just like, oh, April will only do it if it's done her way, as opposed to, wow, look at the creative genius. So it's all about getting the balance in there. But I think you're cutting the ties with your mom, is it?
I finished with mom, and and then I did biological dad, and now I'm working on the dad.
That makes more sense than that. This dream makes more sense. So it's showing, if you're cutting the ties with your dad, then you're doing the right thing, and it's addressing that. But you will find you won't be breaking up with people in your dreams. It'll be more you'll be taking your clothes off and getting into bed type of dream.
Okay.
So did you add anything to that, Heidi?
No, just that they're adamant that you don't do any other healing work than what you're doing. Not ever, just right now, until you finish the process. Okay. Do you remember how good you felt when you finished with cutting the ties with your mother?
It did feel pretty good. I only had like one day, and I remember a dream after. I did it with her for way too long because I was expecting something else. I feel like the dad was. I feel like my male energy imbalanced my female energy. So, I don't know. Like that, I overthinking perhaps is.
No, you're not, because you're a channel that requires both male and female energy. So that's fine for you. It's fine, and like you still can channel. It's not that you can't channel, but this will really bring it on in spades. And then that's going to give you a connection and a comfort. I mean, comfort's the wrong word, but it's going to give you a confidence in your connection that will allow you know with certainty instead of like for wondering, am I there, am I there, am I there? It'll take that away from it.
Okay. That's awesome.
Thanks for your call. I'm just going to pick somebody from random from the pile and see if they phone the station. Because that's 2 dreams that were in my stack here.
Go for it.
We got caught. I was joking.
It could happen.
So, well, what we are going to do is we're going to take a break and we will be back with you in a moment.
How clear is your vision for your life? Are you living on purpose, bringing your dreams to reality? I can help you to hear the quiet voice of your heart, guiding you in the right direction. I'm Susan Pullen with True Radiance Healing Arts. Let's talk about how you can create the life you want and be the person you were born to be. Contact me today at true-radiance.com.
Hello, this is Heidi. How can I help you?
You tell me. You're the psychic.
That's not how it works. I am a medium. I connect to your spirit guides and loved ones and pass on their messages to you.
So why did I call? Use the force, Heidi.
Look, I can get answers to any questions you ask. That's not a problem. They can be about anything: relationships, career, children, finances, anything.
Anything? Okay. What's my favourite colour?
Dave, your mom says you're being childish.
For readings with Heidi, go to angelsontheline.com. Hi, I'm Michael Sheridan and I'm here to tell you about my new book. In 1990, I had a spontaneous awakening and the veil between the physical world and the spirit world was lifted for me. I didn't believe in the spirit world, but that no longer mattered. I was looking at it. My new sight didn't give me answers, but it opened my mind enough to begin asking questions. It would ultimately lead me to discover that the spirit world is always involved in everything we do. My book reveals what I learned about the spirit world as I stumbled through my journey and is titled My Journey to Awakening and is now available on Amazon for Kindle and in paperback. My Journey to Awakening by Michael Sheridan.
On the AM band at 1150 and on the FM HD band at 98.9 HD3. Alternative Talk 1150.
Welcome back to So You Think You're Awake, the show about dreams and their meanings. Our number is 425-373-5527 if you have a dream or a dream-related question, or if you have a question for Heidi and want advice from your guides. Heidi's a medium, and Heidi won't be here for 3 weeks. Is it 3 or 2?
Yes, 3 weeks.
Okay, so now's your chance. Dive in, 425-373-5527. And we want to give Heidi a tough time on her last week, since she didn't put in for this vacation. All right, so we're going to have a look at another couple of dreams. This one, well, actually, I know these are stop and calls, so I'm going to read these 2 out. Earlier, we were talking to somebody, and just a reminder that there's lots of stuff on the website, dream-analysis.com. Subscribe to the newsletter there, and you get notified about an upcoming webinar that will show you how to interpret your own dreams. Something we can't do on the radio. I mean, we try, but it's just so different when you see the lessons and everything coming in. So in this dream, this shows a state of mind, and it's powerful for that reason, and that's why I'm going to include it. So this lady says, I had been in the grocery store at one point shopping for something. I also remember being outside walking away from the front door of the store to the left and around the back of the building to the car to leave when I saw some people hassling a person, and I went back to stop the hanging. Now, she just kind of drops that there. There's going to be a hanging. I was with 2 of my grown sons, and I think they wanted to get going, but I felt the person wasn't so safe. So I walked directly towards this situation to see if my presence would make the attack stop, and the boys reluctantly followed. I am not sure what happened next. I seemed to be living in a house behind the store, and I was there with my husband. And I'm skipping pieces here because I don't want to incriminate. And there was another guy coming to fix something. I think it was the shower head above the bathtub, and then something else, maybe the furnace downstairs. I went into a room. Okay, I'm going to skip pieces here and get to the point. She says, I called the cops on the non-emergency line, but decided instead to hang up and go look. I went outside and walked around now on the outside of the store building to see if she was all right. And when I got to the front, I looked to my left, and she was hanging, and blood was completely covering her. She had Middle Eastern skin tone and black hair. She was wearing Western clothing, a summer, tasteful American-style dress of a lightweight floral material soaked in blood. I could see her skin just above her knees covered in blood. Her legs were bent back behind her, which was an odd position to be in. And when I spoke to this dreamer, she said the way to describe it is hogtied. Not sure how she could even be in that position. I was really upset, and I was wearing her shoes, and I wanted to go back to the house because I thought it would look like I did it. So wearing her shoes, this is really a big clue in this dream. It says this is really about the dreamer. Now, we know from Rule 1 of dream interpretation, everything is about the dreamer. Every symbol in the dream is about the dreamer. So we know it's about her. But here in the dream, it says, I was wearing her shoes, so we know strong link there. I thought it would look like I did it because now the shoes had her blood soaking into them because I had worn them to go. Look, the shoes were a slip-on light-coloured canvas tennis shoe with blood soaked on the toe portion of the top. I love the way she does this in the dream. It's like, oh, here's a horrid scene, and let's have a break for an infomercial. It's like, I got back to the house and called 911. My husband heard the sirens as was looking at the window trying to see what was going on. He said it was something really big. I started to rinse the shoes in the tub, and the blood started to rinse right out, but I was extremely worried that the tiny blood droplets would somehow be left behind that could be used to tie me to her murder, which was ridiculous because I was the one who tried stopping it, and I was the only one who even cared to go and check. I think she might have been hanged after the first person who was threatened earlier in the dream got away. Okay, so the reality for this dreamer is she has a progressive, debilitating disease that the doctors haven't figured out for years, and she wears an oxygen mask and all that sort of thing, and she's getting weaker and weaker all the time. And one of her children is getting married, and it's her last child to get married, and she's thinking, okay, now everybody is raised and flown the nest. I'm not needed anymore. And this is only a brief period in her time in her life. Which is not how she thinks now, but she was thinking at the time, I'm not needed, and I could kill myself and leave the planet before I get to the point where I am so weak I can't actually do something and take myself off the planet. So it shows her frame of mind, and it shows also that she feels, in the dream we see something more. We see she feels like she's the only one that cares. Nobody else seems to care. Her children don't care. Now, this isn't true, but she had reached that depressing state of mind where she was thinking, nobody cares, and I can do this. And the only thing that stopped her, what she says anyway, the only thing that stopped her from taking her life was the fact that it could be linked back to her that it was a suicide, and she didn't want to bring that shame on the family. And that's what her trying to wash the blood from the shoes is all about, and remove any incriminating evidence. And it was only transitionary. And I bring it up because we had a dream last week where it was a normal dream about an illness, but there was also symbols of a death wish in the dream. And there's nothing like that in this dream. But it just shows how much more important it is when we see the death wish symbols showing up in a dream, that you really have to do something or step in and do something for this dreamer. Anyway, to finish, here's her dream that is just a couple of weeks later. She says, great dream about stopping a big grey commercial jet plane from being hijacked. The authorities, like the FBI, came up to the back of the plane while it was still on the ground with weapons drawn and demanded that the hijackers get off the plane before it took off or a passenger on the plane, or they would blow it out of the sky. Sorry, I skipped a line there. They asked that the hijackers get off before, or they would blow it out of the sky. And the hijackers gave up. And let's see, what else did she say? I went to the place, so it goes on about how great she's feeling and how happy she was with the authorities. And she says she went to this place where she lived, and it was kind of a public space with round dog tables where journalists and writers worked or gathered. And I was there in this place by myself, just wanting to tell those closest to me how exciting it was and how happy I was that we stopped the hijackers. Everything was kind of old style and so on and so on. But anyway, it just shows she herself dealt with what was overpowering her mind, which is what the hijackers are about. And she's now back to a really positive frame of mind, which is where this dreamer normally is, despite her illness. And this dream says, look, you're meant to be writing and teaching. The journalists and all that are about that. So she still has very positive things in her life that she's been asked to look at, and that's where it took her. So I know I kind of rushed through those, but we have a caller on the line. We have Abby. Hello to Abby.
Hi, Michael and Heidi. I love you guys.
Hi.
Great. And you have a question for the guides. And hey, are you close to where that explosion was?
Oh, my gosh. I'm around the corner, and I always go to Chaco Canyon to work every day. That's like my hub. But I wasn't there when it happened because it was night. Oh, my gosh. That's so funny that you know about that. Well, of course you know about that. You guys both know about everything, right?
No, not at all.
I am close to where that was. It's funny. I mean, it's not funny. Blessings, prayers. Amen.
Yes. Yeah, when you look at the devastation, it's amazing nobody was injured.
Oh, my gosh, I haven't even been down there. I haven't seen anything. I don't even watch TV. I'm going to drive by. Thank you for that reminder.
Okay, so you have a question about guides or a question for Heidi, probably.
I do. Well, I have so many vivid dreams. I love having my vivid dreams. And actually, I love what you said earlier about the bus driver being our higher self, because a few nights ago I had a dream that a French-speaking bus driver was driving me around some city, not this one, maybe New York or France, and wouldn't let me off. And I forgot some things at a bus stop, and he wouldn't let me off the bus. So that's interesting. I will meditate on what that means. But yeah, I would love to know what my guides are telling me to do in my life. I always would love to know and have more guidance about that.
Well, let's start with that dream.
Okay, so thank you for a subject we avoid. So France and dreams, if you're not from France and if it doesn't mean anything to you in the sense that you've never been there on holiday and it has a very strong feeling for you that comes up, is that the case for you? Have you been to France and you're just like, oh, I love it, I love it, I love it?
Oh, I've been to France, but it's not I love it. Definitely not. But, the guy was speaking French, and I was like, oh, he can't even understand me, or I can't understand. I felt that he couldn't understand me.
Okay, the normal meaning for France and for this guy in the dream is France is where the sexual revolution started. So it's a reminder to not inhibit yourself, to hold yourself back. It's not saying become a hippie and join a commune or anything like that, but don't hold yourself back because of say issues with dad because it's a male bus driver. So you're to be who you are and be who you are in your own sexual relationships. It's not what a male authority figure in your life has told you it should be. So it's remove those limitations. Not saying there are none. It's about you being yourself.
Wow, that was so appropriate. Thank you. Wow.
Okay. So, Heidi, you were going to add.
And staying on the bus till you reach your destination.
That's why we're saying it's don't inhibit. Don't block yourself.
Yeah. Okay.
Staying on the bus.
Yeah, you're not to. You shouldn't. You wanted to get off. You're correct. But what keeps you on the bus is not the bus driver. So we're everything in the dream. And we're responsible for everything in the dream. So even though it looks like the bus driver's keeping you on the bus, it's you're keeping yourself on the bus because of issues with dad that go back to that control how comfortable you are in sexual relationships.
Wow.
So Heidi, anything other than that to add?
Not specifically about that, but we are running out of time. So I know you said, do they have any advice for you? But I know you have questions about your life, so pick one question and I will answer it for you.
Oh my gosh. Is something going to pop soon in the financial abundance realm with something I'm doing in my life path? Am I on my dharmic path? That's a good one.
Not yet, but you're working towards it, and part of that dream as well. It is referring to just not just about sexual liberation, but for you as well, it's about maintaining an open heart. And I'm sure you've heard earlier, even in this show, to be on the dharmic path, you have to have and maintain an open heart. And so part of that is dealing with those issues, and it will open you up fully.
Yeah, it's important to say our sexual chakra is also our creative center. I mean, we create children with reproduction. So, but we also create everything about ourselves. We create in our lives. It's a very important chakra. I mean, they're all important. But so there are, if you were, say, trying to write or trying to do artwork or do many other things, you're going to use your base chakra for that too. So there are many reasons why dreams can say, don't inhibit the flow of energy going through this part of your body.
Thank you guys so much. God, that is so powerful. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot for your call, Abby. Okay.
You're welcome.
And that is it. We are out of time. I'm going to say thank you to Eric Ryder, our producer and engineer. Thank you to Heidi, and we hope you have a really good holiday and you can tell us all about it. Next week is St. Patrick's Day.
I know, I'll be in Ireland. I'm so excited.
So thanks for listening, and especially for sending in your dreams. Remember, send them to radioshow@dream-analysis.com and look us up on dream-analysis.com for archives and more. We have every single show we've ever done. The archives are up there. And until next week, we will leave you with a quote that Heidi has looked up. She picked up one about the Dharmic path.
This one is from Rumi. He says, when you do things from your soul, you feel a river moving in you, a joy. And that's what the Dharmic path
You feel
feels
that
like.
river, yeah. Thank you. See you next week.